Lori Flaquette of Soltar Solutions, and I am here today on Focus Forward with an absolutely phenomenal guest. I met our guest at Dan Kennedy's Super Conference down in Dallas earlier this year. No one could miss her. Out of a room of 2,000 plus people, she was the one with the microphone in her hand pitching country music great John Rich of Big and Rich. I mean, it was amazing. She acted like she'd been doing that her whole life. She's phenomenal. So I want to introduce today and thank her for being on our show, Cindy Dunston Quirk. So Cindy, she's phenomenal. She's here and she's going to tell us how she took, believe it or not, a product from concept to market in 2.5 weeks. How did you do that?
Nis, thank you, and thanks for having us on. The way we did that is necessity was the mother of invention. Zoe has allergies, and I'd been searching for years for something for her to chew on. And once I put my mind to this, it was very, very easy. The branding and the marketing just was second nature. It's something that I'd been almost trained for my entire life.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the story of your company.
Well, Scout and Zoe started as an idea in January of 2010, and then I brought it to market February 19th, 2010, and I debuted the product at the Deer and Turkey Expo, which was probably not the best place to do it, but it was enough success to where I knew that I had a viable product, and we just hit the ground running and have never looked back.
So tell me about the product.
Well, we make dog chews and now bird chews and small animal chews out of elk antlers, naturally shed elk antlers. So there are no chemicals, no preservatives, green, organic, totally recycled product. So it's a great product for dogs because it helps clean their teeth. And it's wonderful for dogs that love to chew, which is almost every dog on earth.
Well, I was amazed when I got this. Look at the beautiful packaging on this. It is, I think this is gorgeous. I mean, this is so nice. It's so pretty. And I actually love the branding. This is just gorgeous. So I have to ask you, this dog chew, how much does this thing weigh? I was shocked that it weighed so much.
The dog chews weigh, because we have 5 sizes, small to jumbo, they weigh from just a couple of ounces up to more than 1.5 pounds. And some of them are even bigger than that because we can do custom sizes. But for dogs that are like Mastiffs or Great Danes or big chewers like a Rottweiler or a Pit Bull, they need those extra large and jumbo chews because they have a lot of chewing power, and we want them to last a long time. So that's why we make 5 different sizes.
Well, my pit bull, she goes through a bone like so unbelievably fast. So I don't think she's going to be going through this that quickly. I mean, this is serious. This is serious bone. So how did you get this idea?
I searched forever for something for Zoe to chew on, and the backstory to that is I was pretty much grousing one day with my veterinarian on her regular appointment, and he said, "You're a smart lady. Why don't you just invent something?" And I'm not one to back down from a challenge. So once he did that, he kind of planted that seed in my brain, and it was just like, okay, I'll take that challenge on. And since Zoe, it was my baby and still is my baby, it was a task that I felt I had to master. And luckily, I turned it into a very profitable company, and we've just had this wonderful resonance with people just like you who consider their pets family and want only the best for them, and we've just done very, very well with it.
Well, I find it amazing, absolutely amazing, that just the whole concept, because a lot of people would never even think of using elk antlers for a chew. I mean, do you know of other people that have had companies like that, or was this just your idea?
No, there are other companies that do this, but there aren't any companies that do it in the way that we do it. The way that we've positioned this product is as a premium product, premium brand, and sold in premium stores. So that was quite the challenge in the current economic conditions, to elevate ourselves above the fray and to differentiate ourselves enough to where we have this resonance with with people who think a lot of their pets as members of their families, and also people who shop in these high-end stores.
Okay, great. So how many things did you try before you actually landed on the elk antlers?
2 or 3 different things. My background is in sales and marketing, and I've been a lifelong dog lover, so this was not a difficult task. I mean, once I put my mind to it, it was something that was, if you want to use the analogy that I was born to do this, or that my dogs showed me the way to do it, that's a great analogy, because I think that's what happened.
Wow. So what was the criteria that you used to kind of rate the different products that you were developing? Like, what was the criteria?
Had to be long-lasting, had to be sustainable, good for the earth, great for the dogs, because the dog's health has always been paramount in this endeavor and continues to be. The health and happiness of every dog who gets these is what we seek. And we don't know of any dog that's unhappy. I mean, when a dog gets a bone or an antler, they're pretty good to go. So we just, if it's not every product that we bring out, if it's not good enough for my dogs, Scout and Zoe, that's the benchmark, because we won't offer it to anyone else if it's not good enough for them.
Right, right, right. Well, I've seen the pictures of your dogs, and I have to tell you, they look really happy. One of them looks absolutely enormous. So when I saw the picture of you, because you sent me those beautiful pictures, which we're going to show on the air, of you in between I was like, is that dog bigger than her? I mean, that dog is like, wow. So that's, having those healthy, happy animals. I look at my dogs every day and I say, I'm so glad that not only that I have them, but that they have me. Because you hear all these stories that are just so heartbreaking, that anything that I can do to make them happy and improve their lives and, spoil them a little bit, because they're always there with me, and if I don't give it to them, they don't have it. So they're much easier even to control than children with their diet and the things that they do, but they're just so cute. I just love them. So I'm really excited to be seeing what happens when I give them these treats later on. I didn't want to give them to them before the show, because you know what that's like, You can't take them away to bring them on the air.
They'll be just like every other dog on the planet who gets these chews. They'll love them. I've only heard of like a couple of dogs that wouldn't take to them, and those dogs were really, really finicky dogs.
Oh, wow.
These, for the most part, like 99% of our clientele, the dogs fall in love with these antlers, and they are repeat customers, because they found something that's sustainable, it's good for the earth, it's good for the dog, it's long lasting, it's a great value for the customer too. And that was another criteria, is that it had to be bigger. We wanted to do things in a big way. It's kind of like go big or stay at home, so that's what we did.
Okay, you sound like you're from Texas. So anyway, because that I hear every time I'm in Texas, I keep hearing that over and over. But so anyway, what advice could you give to just the average entrepreneur or wannabe entrepreneur about how they could take a concept and actually have a product ready in a reasonable amount of time? I mean, 2.5 weeks is really, that is the fastest I think I've ever heard. But what can they do to help them? What advice can you give them for that?
Well, first of all, you need to follow your passion. I think that's the main thing, and that's probably what has catapulted this in such a large way so quickly, because we've exploded from just an idea 2.5 years ago to being in 450 stores today. That's pretty darn good, and we're global. We're not just in the United States. So following your passion is definitely one of these things that you need to seek, because once you do that, everything else is easy. I'd also say, once you have something in mind, to be really persistent with it, because there is going to be a lot of naysayers around you that are going to tell you that it can't be done or that it's not good enough, and you've got to believe in yourself and surround you with these people who will build you up and support your idea and be nimble enough to change it as the market shows you what it will bear. The other thing is to don't delay in getting your idea out. The idea that things have to be perfect, don't really, I don't buy into that school of thought. I pretty much subscribe to the Richard Branson school of thought, where he just says, screw it, do it. And, and really, that's the best way to do it, because you put yourself out there, you put your feet to the fire by putting this product, your baby, on the market, and it could be viewed as sloppy success, but when you get it out there, the market will show you what needs to be changed, and then just be nimble enough to work with it, because the first branding that we had only lasted 6 months. And we found, we hit on this current branding that we have now, and it hasn't changed one bit in the last 2 years. And I am totally in love with it, and people who look at our product now, they look at it and go, God, this is wonderful. How did you come up with this? And it's kind of like, well, it's my brainchild. I love this.
Well, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. So, so I heard a few different things. The last thing I'd like to touch on, you're saying don't be afraid to change. Once you get it, and a lot of people are like, that's the way it's going to be. I have that product. I'm not going to change it. This is what I want. And that's something even that Donald Trump says. Stick with your vision and keep going, but don't be inflexible. Make it, adjust it, make changes in it, so the market is more apt to, to support it. Everything
Correct.
really needs to be market driven. So the other question is, how did you, when you decided to go into this, how did you go into it? I mean, what were your first steps?
Well, I debuted it at the Deer and Turkey Expo, which is, there are a lot of hunters there. So selling dog chews to hunters was pretty decent success for me, to convince them to spend the money on a piece of antler rather than the whole thing. So I just put it out there, and up to this point, it's still a very grassroots entity, where I'm driving the sales and the marketing and the product development and the channels. So it's been this culmination of my experience and my education that I've had over the last 30 years. It's just this wonderful place to be, where everything converges and everything's right. And my dogs continue to show me the way by thinking, well, Zoe is 12 now, and she has a little bit of a hard time getting into the antlers now, so we took them, split them down the middle, and created a new product, these antler splits for senior dogs, so they're easier to get into. So just having this mindset of that nothing is set in stone, that you can be open to new possibilities and looking for other opportunities for your brand. I mean, it's just the possibilities are endless.
Well, you sent me one of your possibilities, and I just want to touch on this a little bit, if you don't mind. Sure. I found your treatment for your new TV show that you're working on to be absolutely brilliant. I loved it. I know we're not revealing it, but I just wanted to tell you I loved it, and I think that you really are somebody that is going to go places with your spin-offs. The stuff that you're coming up with on our phone conversation the other day, I was just sitting there in amazement. I'm like, where does she come up with these ideas? So okay, we can't talk about the TV show. I understand. I'm fine with it, but I just wanted to tell you it's brilliant. So now let's just talk maybe about what you see next for your company. What, in a perfect world, what would you like to have happen when somebody sees your show? I mean, what steps would you like them to take?
Well, there's a few things. One is that, we would like exposure for our brand, because the more exposure we have, the bigger we can grow. And then all of these other items that we have in R&D and this, the treatment, we can bring to make my vision happen, which is a wonderful thing. So we can make a lot more doggies and other species happy. Another thing is that, along with all of the creation that we do, at some point, I want to be viewed as one of the top people in the pet wellness market, this expert that people go to and go, when they hear my name, they go, oh yeah, the dog lady. Yeah, she started with dog chews. It's like, and she's brilliant. And so to be known as an industry expert. And the other thing is, as our company grows, we're beginning to look for like-minded people who want to invest in the company. So we're open to all of those possibilities.
Wow, that's great. And you are brilliant. You are brilliant. And the other thing that I'm so, excited in that whole room with all those people, you were really the person that got up and you actually pitched your idea. And you have to be ready at any given time, to pitch an idea. It's not, you really have to, and that takes a lot of time to get to that place. You really have to know your product well. You have to know your market well. You have to know exactly what it is that what your vision is. You
do have to know your vision, but the other thing that you have to be ready with, you have to have your pitch always ready, because you never know if that 30 seconds on an elevator is going to mean the difference between finding an investor or your product just exploding because you've met the right person. And the fact that you have to seize the day. You never know what's going to be laid in front of your feet any particular day. And that one day with John Rich was just that particular day where I was ready with my information. I knew enough about him to capture his interest, and I had my pitch ready to rock. And that absolutely, because he won Celebrity Apprentice, he knows what it's like to have to be able to pitch at any time. So he understood what I was doing. He appreciated the fact that I knew a lot about him and had this story that was little known, and I knew the story behind that and his dog. And that really piqued his interest, and our paths have crossed 3 or 4 times since then.
Really? That's amazing. Well, I'll tell you, you took everyone's attention when you did that. I remember I had one of my television treatments, which I think it's a real go. I was just talking to, I sent it to you, and then I was talking to my assistant on the way here today about it. But I got up in a room of 3,000 people in Boston, and I pitched that to Tim Gunn. And I thought that would be a phenomenal show for him to actually host on the Bravo network. So, after you've inspired me. You have inspired me. I said to Raina this morning, I said, Raina, I really should follow up with that. Somebody was pitching it in LA and all that. And, it's just like one of those things that I let by the wayside. But everybody I tell the idea to, like your idea, thinks it's a phenomenal idea. So, maybe we'll get together and do some pitching together.
I love that. I think that your idea is fabulous, and I don't know why you haven't acted on it. And it can't be because you're afraid of failure, because I know you, and I know you're not afraid of anything. So I really do love this. I am so in love with Richard Branson, his idea that success doesn't have to be perfect. It can be sloppy, but you have to kind of throw caution to the wind and do it. You just have to put yourself out there. So screw it, let's do it. I mean, it's perfect.
Well, I have a funny thing. I don't know if you know who James Malinchak is from ABC's Secret Millionaire. Okay. Well, I was with him in Maui at Jack Canfield's, and then 3 weeks later, I was at his boot camp in LA, and he has the funniest story. He always says, "My ugly book is better than the one you ain't got," and it's like so true. It's so true. A lot of people, they waste a lot of time and energy trying to perfect a product before actually getting it to market. So it's important to really do. So how do you believe so much in your ideas? Maybe that's because you definitely believe in your ideas. So how do you do that?
Well, I just think, the sun's coming out here, so I'm probably really, really white right now. I grew up with wonderful parents, and they taught me that I could be and do anything that I wanted to be and do. And the fact that I was a girl didn't have any bearing on what I was going to do. So I was allowed to try a lot of things when I was young, and make mistakes and know that everything would be all right in the morning when I woke up. But I think that to have this vision, I'm a real big believer of thinking very large about things. My universe is quite large. It's probably larger than most people's. And my vision of what I'm able to do is pretty big too. So I have extremely large goals and visions. And when you shoot for the stars like that, you're gonna be able to achieve most of the stuff that you want. And even if you have to back off a few of your goals and realign them just a little bit to make them a little bit more realistic or to bring them to market initially, that's a big plus because you're further down the road than most people because most people don't even act on their ideas.
Well, so what you're saying, I think, is really true. So the first thing I want to talk a little bit about that you mentioned is, mistakes or failures. So what happens? I mean, we're sitting here and we're listening to you and we're thinking, wow, maybe she's never made any mistakes. Maybe she's never had any failures. So, I mean, are you one of those chosen people who have never failed or?
Oh no. I don't call them failures. I call them challenges.
Okay.
And the way that I choose to look at this is that I choose to take the silver lining or what's the positive out of it. And just like when we talked the other day, if you look at my resume, it's varied and it's, if you were going to hire me as a corporate entity, you would look at my resume and go, man, she's been a lot of places. And the truth is I've gotten fired from a lot of jobs because I'm a big personality and I can always find a better way to do something. So a lot of people feel really threatened by that. But other people in the entrepreneur side of things are very inspired by that. So I think it's a question of if you look at failure as failure, then you'll never glean anything from it. But if you look at failure as a challenge and what do you take away from it, then you're way further down the road than a lot of people because you can take that, learn a positive from it, and make it work for you in just a slightly different form doing something else.
Well, I think that that's so true. A lot of people, when they have their first failure, they just kind of give up. And that's just the worst possible thing that you can do. It's just, success, but people believe that success is a straight line. It's like, okay, I'm going to go here, and here I am, and I'm just going to zoom right towards that. And a lot of times, and for a lot of people, it's a zigzag. More people, it's a zigzag than it is a straight line. So
I don't know that, I don't think that I'm one of the chosen people that never makes a mistake. My success is, it's sometimes it's spiral, sometimes it's a zigzag. It's not a straight line. And
No.
I think that for anybody whose success is a straight line, they've got some other lessons to learn because that's not the one that they were supposed to learn. Because if it were easy, everybody would be doing it.
Well, that's absolutely true. So the other thing about it is that I find so interesting is lately this has really become very clear to me. I set a goal, and I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to get to that goal. Sometimes I'm not even thinking about how I'm going to get to that goal. I just set that goal, and then it's very strange how things start to happen that are all of a sudden are taking me towards that goal, but in ways I never could have expected. So have you experienced that?
Absolutely. I had no clue. I knew that this was going to be big because, how could it not? Because I can't have Scouts laying right here. How can I have the only dogs on the planet that have these issues?
Right.
So if I'm thinking that my dogs and other dogs have these, it's got to be successful. So knowing that you can make a difference, and sometimes it does. If you just have to set the vision, and then the how happens. It's almost like the universe shows you what you need next to achieve this goal, but you have to have the vision and the end result before you find the mechanisms to make it work. Just like who knows who's going to view this show? It could be a distributor who's looking to carry a great product. It could be someone who's very passionate about dogs and wants to join me in my quest for our global domination of the doggy wellness market. I mean, who knows? So the how usually comes around. It's not something that, you can lay out in a marketing plan and know that it's going to happen. It just trust that it will happen.
It's like you really have to jump in and make it work. It's really, you have to jump in and you really have to grab those opportunities as they come to you. So I'm really sorry to tell you we are already out of time. I just feel like we've just started. We just scratched the surface.
We have just scratched the surface.
Yeah, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to set a time to get back together. Maybe you're going to have some new products coming up. Maybe you have some new ideas. Maybe it's announcing the new TV show. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, that would be so wonderful, yeah. And Scout would like that too, wouldn't you, buddy? Yeah, we'll get up here. Come here. Here he is. Here's Scout.
Oh, nice. Hi. Oh, another opportunity to remove the makeup.
There you go.
So cute. They're so cute. So cute. Wow. You got to see mine the other day. I wanted to bring Serena in. Next time I'm going to bring Serena in. Next time we're on, I'm bringing Serena here. Excellent. So she'll be chewing on the dog chew, and we'll be having our conversation. So Annie, just give me one tip off the top of your head for an entrepreneur that's starting out, bringing a product to market or thinking about it.
Follow your passion.
Follow your passion.
Follow your passion, and don't be deterred by people around you telling you no. Believe in yourself and make it happen.
Believe in yourself and make it happen. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Cindy. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to get these chews home and see what goes on with them. I just didn't want to bring slimy chews to the studio.
Thanks for having us. We enjoyed it too and look forward to seeing you again.
All right, I will talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. This is Lori Flecker saying thank you so much for joining us today for Focus Forward, and we hope that this has helped you to maybe get a new idea, maybe take an idea that you have to market. Whatever it is, we want to be able to help you to be a better, more successful entrepreneur. Thank you.
Hey, I am Robert Dempsey with this week's Tips from the Net, and today I want to talk a bit about email marketing. Two aspects of email marketing, uses and testing. So why do people use email marketing? Well, number one, they want to keep in touch with leads. There's a little something called lead nurturing, which is when you send emails to people kind of on a regular basis, giving them more information to work them through the sales funnel from becoming a lead to becoming a customer. So that's number one. Speaking of customers, that's number two, actually keeping in touch with current customers, current clients. Number three is to sell products. So a lot of affiliate marketers will use email marketing as a method of selling or promoting affiliate products. Also, if you have your own products, you can send people, obviously, offers for your own products. Now, when it comes to testing, there are a few things, well, there are a lot of things you can test, but really the biggies are, number one, you want to test your headlines, which is for an email is the subject line, and you want to also test your call to action. Now, being able to test either one of these, though, requires that you have an email list big enough to actually split into two. So probably when you get up to 50 or 100 people on your email list, then you want to start testing your headlines and testing your calls to action. So that's it for this week. I am Robert Dempsey, and I will see you for the next Tips from the Net.